Rare coin collecting, where ordinary coins hide extraordinary value.
In this episode, we're taking a close look at 5 Lincoln pennies most Americans have seen but almost never examine. All look like ordinary pocket change. Yet hidden among them are rare versions that have shocked collectors with their values. Some of these coins were created by quiet mint mistakes, others by tiny details most people miss entirely. What makes this episode different is that the last 2 coins carry secrets that even longtime collectors overlook. And the final coin of this video has a history of turning spare change into serious money. If you've ever wondered whether modern U.S. pennies can still be valuable, stay with us, because one coin at the end of this episode could change the way you look at your change forever. Let's start this video with the first coin, one almost every American has seen and ignored countless times. The 1995 Lincoln penny. It looks like ordinary U.S. change, yet one specific version sold at auction for $23,500, forcing collectors to rethink what modern pennies can really be worth. By the mid-1990s, pennies were already treated as throwaway money. They were minted in huge numbers, spent immediately, and rarely saved. Most 1995 cents spent years in pockets and cash registers, picking up marks from the start. That's why the vast majority are still worth just 1 cent today. What makes this coin different isn't age or metal. It's a minting mistake. A small number of 1995 pennies were struck using a doubled die on the front, created when the die received a misaligned impression during production. That error caused bold, permanent doubling in the design. The doubling stands out clearly in Liberty and In God We Trust, where the letters show strong separation instead of soft shadows. This isn't damage or wear. It's part of the coin itself, and once you know what to look for, it's unmistakable. Most of these pennies circulated for years before anyone noticed, which makes condition critical. Worn examples can still be valuable, but the real money comes from coins that avoided circulation. That's where prices separate. Circulated examples may bring hundreds. Cleaner coins can reach the thousands. But when a near-perfect example appears, collectors compete aggressively. That's how one reached $23,500, stunning anyone who thought a 1990s penny couldn't be valuable. The 1995 Lincoln penny proves a simple truth about American coins. Knowledge, condition, and survival matter more than age. Even everyday pocket change can hide a serious collector story if you know how to look. Let's move on to the next coin in the video, one that almost every American has seen, but very few truly understand. The 1992 Lincoln penny. It looks like ordinary U.S. change, yet one exceptional example connected to this year has sold for $14,400. Proving that even a modern-looking penny can cross into serious collector territory when the details line up. By 1992, pennies were everywhere. They were being produced in huge quantities and spent without a second thought. Most people didn't save them, inspect them, or imagine they would ever be worth more than face value. The United States Mint was striking Lincoln cents strictly for circulation, and almost all of them ended up in pockets, jars, and cash registers. That everyday handling is exactly why nearly every 1992 penny today shows wear, dull surfaces, or discoloration. What makes this year interesting isn't just how many were made, but what happened behind the scenes. In 1992, the Lincoln cent design was nearing the end of its long run, with the wheat-style reverse already gone and the memorial reverse still in use. Production was fast, and quality control was focused on quantity, not perfection. That environment created coins that were functional, but rarely flawless. Most 1992 pennies you'll encounter are heavily circulated. The high points on Lincoln's portrait wear down quickly. The beard flattens, the coat lines blend together, and the fields lose their shine. In that condition, value stays low. But when a coin survives with sharp detail, clean surfaces, and original mint luster, it becomes something entirely different. Condition is the dividing line. A well-preserved 1992 penny with no major marks and strong eye appeal can climb rapidly in value, especially when combined with subtle but desirable characteristics. Collectors pay close attention to strike quality. Look at Lincoln's jawline and the separation in the coat lines. Strong definition here signals a coin that avoided heavy handling. The fields should look smooth and reflective, not spotted or dull. Color also matters more than most people realize. Pennies that retain their original red color are far scarcer than brown or red-brown examples. Copper reacts quickly to air, moisture, and handling. That's why truly red, untouched examples are difficult to find decades later. When a 1992 penny shows full red color along with sharp details, collectors take notice immediately. The real excitement comes when top condition meets scarcity. While millions of 1992 pennies exist, only a tiny fraction survived in near-perfect shape. Modern coins weren't stored carefully. They weren't sealed away for the future. Most were used until they were worn down. That lack of preservation is what drives competition today. Auction results tell the story clearly. When a high-grade 1992 Lincoln penny appears, bidding reflects how difficult it is to replace. One standout example reached $14,400, not because the coin was old or made of precious metal, but because it represented the very top of what exists for the year. Collectors understand that opportunities like that don't come around often. The difference between a solid example and a record-setting one can come down to a single mark or a faint break in luster. That razor-thin margin is what makes condition so important. It's also why grading matters behind the scenes, even if most people never think about it. At the highest levels, perfection is rare, and rarity drives price. There's also an emotional side to coins like this. Collectors are drawn to pieces that challenge assumptions. A 1992 penny doesn't look special. It doesn't feel rare in your hand. But that's exactly what makes it compelling. It reminds people that value isn't always obvious and that knowledge can transform something ordinary into something remarkable. If you ever sort through your own change or old collections, patience is essential. Most 1992 pennies will be common, but slow down and really look. Check the surfaces, the sharpness of the design, and the color. Strong luster and clean fields are what matter. Blurry edges or flat details usually mean circulation took its toll. The 1992 Lincoln penny stands as proof that modern American coins still have stories to tell. In the right condition, with the right characteristics, even a penny from recent decades can rise far beyond expectations. It's a reminder that sometimes the most overlooked U.S. coins are the ones that surprise collectors the most, and that attention to detail can turn everyday change into something truly special. This next coin in our video is one most Americans have handled countless times without ever stopping to look at it. The 1992 D. Lincoln penny, On the surface, it's just everyday U.S. change, but one exceptional example shocked collectors when it sold for $14,100, proving that even modern American pennies can still deliver surprises. By 1992, pennies were already treated as disposable money. The Denver Mint produced huge quantities of Lincoln cents that year, and almost every one of them went straight into circulation. They were spent at grocery stores, dropped into tip jars, and tossed into pockets without a second thought. Because of that, most 1992 D pennies picked up wear quickly, losing their sharp details and original surfaces early in their lives. That's what makes high-quality survivors so difficult to find today. While the date itself isn't rare, condition changes everything. A penny that avoided heavy handling, kept its original mint luster, and didn't develop spots or discoloration is in a completely different category from the average example people are used to seeing. When examining a 1992 D penny, the details matter immediately. Look at Lincoln's jawline and beard. On worn coins, those areas blur together. On premium examples, the lines are sharp and well-defined. The fields around Lincoln's portrait should appear smooth and bright, not dull or scratched. Flip the coin over and inspect the Lincoln Memorial. Clean steps, crisp pillars, and clear separation in the design all signal a higher quality strike. Color also plays a major role. Many pennies from this era turned brown or uneven over time. Coins that retain strong red color without dark spots or streaking are far scarcer than most people realize. That color preservation is one of the biggest reasons collectors compete aggressively for top-tier examples. What pushed values higher for this coin is the realization that modern cents were almost never saved properly. By the early 1990s, roll collecting had faded, and very few people stored pennies in protective environments. That means true gem condition examples are far rarer than mintage numbers suggest. When one of these pennies appears at auction in exceptional condition, collectors take notice. The difference between a typical mint state coin and a standout example can come down to a single mark or a slight break in luster. In competitive bidding, those tiny differences matter. That's how a penny worth 1 cent on its face managed to reach $14,100, surprising even seasoned collectors. There's also something appealing about coins like this. They challenge expectations. This isn't an ancient coin. It isn't silver or gold. It's a modern U.S. penny that proves knowledge and condition are more important than age alone. That idea keeps interest strong and demand steady. If you ever sort through old change, jars, or inherited collections, this is a reminder to slow down. Most 1992 D pennies will be ordinary, but carefully inspecting surfaces, color, and detail can make all the difference. Good lighting and patience are often what separate overlooked coins from meaningful finds. The 1992 D Lincoln penny shows how survival changes value. It's a small piece of American coinage history that most people ignore, yet in the right condition, it becomes something entirely different. Sometimes the most familiar coins are the ones that still have the most to teach us. Let's close out this video with the last coin, and it's one most Americans have handled without ever slowing down. The 1999 Lincoln penny. It feels modern, ordinary, and forgettable. Yet one rare version of this U.S. coin has sold for $7,000, proving once again that value in American coins often hides in plain sight. By 1999, pennies were already being dismissed as pocket clutter. The United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents in enormous numbers to keep up with everyday demand. These coins were meant to move fast through the economy, They were spent at convenience stores, dropped into tip jars, and ignored the moment they changed hands. Almost no one thought twice about saving them, and that mindset plays a huge role in why certain examples are valuable today. What makes the 1999 penny special isn't the date itself, but a subtle design detail that most people never notice. A small number of these pennies were struck with what collectors call the wide AM reverse. On most 1999 pennies, the letters A and M in the word America nearly touch. On the rare version, there's a clear gap between them. It's a tiny difference, but in the coin world, tiny differences can mean everything. This wasn't damage or post-mint alteration. It happened because the wrong reverse die was used during production. The design intended for proof coins ended up on regular circulation strikes. That mistake slipped through unnoticed and entered circulation, where these pennies were spent just like any other. For years, they passed from hand to hand with no attention at all. Most people still overlook them today. That's why condition matters so much. A worn 1999 wide AM penny is collectible, but the real value appears when the coin shows strong surfaces, clean fields, and original color. When a coin like this survives without heavy marks, without discoloration, and without wear, it becomes dramatically more desirable. When you examine one closely, start with Lincoln's portrait. The hairline should be sharp, the cheeks smooth, and the jawline clearly defined. The fields around the portrait should look bright and even, not dull or blotchy. Then flip the coin over and focus on the word America. That spacing between the A and M is the key. It's the detail that separates a 1-cent coin from something collectors actively hunt. Because these pennies were never meant to be saved, high-grade examples are surprisingly difficult to find. Modern coins often suffer from contact marks the moment they're struck. They slide into bins, drop into bags, and collide with other coins. That rough handling means truly clean examples are far scarcer than most people expect. Auction results tell the story clearly. When a high-quality 1999 wide AM penny appears, collectors pay attention. They know supply is limited and demand keeps growing. That competition is exactly how top examples reached prices like $7,000, shocking people who still believe modern pennies can't be valuable. Part of the appeal is how unexpected the story is. This isn't a coin from the early 1900s. It isn't silver. It doesn't look rare sitting on a table. Yet it proves that knowledge is what creates value in U.S. coins. The people who understand what they're looking at are the ones who benefit. Another reason this coin remains popular is accessibility. Unlike ultra-rare coins locked away in collections, these were released into circulation. That means discoveries are still possible. Collectors and everyday people alike continue to check jars, rolls, and old change, hoping to spot that spacing on the reverse. If you're searching, patience matters. Most 1999 pennies will be ordinary. Machine double-in wear or lighting tricks can fool the eye. True wide AM examples show clear, intentional spacing, not blurry edges. Good lighting and magnification help, but once you see a real one, the difference becomes obvious. As the final coin of this video, the 1999 Lincoln penny ties everything together. It represents modern American coinage, overlooked value, and the importance of details. It shows that rarity doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, and hiding in the smallest design choices. This penny reminds us that even at the end of the 20th century, U.S. coins were still capable of surprising collectors. A simple mistake, combined with survival and condition, turned everyday pocket change into a legitimate collectible. And that's the perfect note to end on, because it proves one lasting truth. In American coins, the story is never finished, and the next surprise could already be in your hands.